So today we're going to be putting together a Digitrax Universal UP5 panel. I highly recommend these for a layout. You can buy these in packages and they're relatively cheap. These are called spade terminals. They're great for terminal blocks and a whole bunch of other great things. If we look on the back of this UP5 panel, you can see there's a slot and a wire does need to go there. The spade connector is great for doing that. So what you'll need is you'll need lockable pliers, spade connectors, and 1/2 inch stripped off the wire. You will then take your spade connector, put it on the end of the plier, and then fish your wire in, then simply lock down. And then release the trigger. This spade connector is now finished. You need 2 wires that are to the proper color code per Universal UP5 panel. The color code for my DCC bus is blue and black. The reasoning for this is the blue cable is for rail B, the black cable is for rail A. All you simply have to do once these jumpers are connected to your bus is find rail A. This is rail A, so black gets connected, and then rail B, blue gets connected. Then you simply screw them down. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to assemble a UP5 panel from Digitrax. If you want to save these instructions, I would highly recommend not cutting this open. But for the sake of time, I'm going to cut the bag open like so. Once the bag is cut open, you can dispose of the top. The contents will simply spill out. If you want, you can read the instructions, but you probably won't have to if you set these up before. If you have, you're probably not going to be watching this unless you want it for entertainment purposes. What you will do first is you'll remove the 2 black screws. You will not remove silver screws. The silver screws are for the back of the panel. The black screws are for the front of the panel. You should not be removing any silver screws. With your screws removed, you will then take your board and align it. You will align it with the loco neck holes and simply run the screws through the holes. Now what generally helps is if you run the screw through first, put a screwdriver in there with a nice new bit, and that will stay in there because it's a nice new bit, and then you simply start screwing it. Do not drive the screws home. Wait until you put the second screw in, then you can begin driving the screws home. Both screws in that are not drived home, you may now drive one of the screws home. Now you may drive the other screw home. That is the aluminum fascia plate installed. Now what we need to do is we need to create the data cables for the panel. If you would wish to daisy chain panels together, if you have lots and lots of panels to daisy chain, you can connect a 12-volt transformer. If you're only daisy chaining 3 or 4, you do not need the 12-volt transformer. This is the end of my daisy chaining, so all I need to make is 1 data cable. If you are daisy chaining to multiple different units, you would make 1 for this side and 1 for this side to daisy chain off to the other cable. This is the last panel in my daisy chain circuit. So all I need to do is make 1 data cable. If this was in the middle of your circuit, or say the second from the last panel in your circuit, what you would then do is you would create 2 data cables. One of the data cables will be the in, one of them will be the out, down to the other panel. The wires in question are Digitrax RJ12 cables. These cables must have 6 wires inside them. what you will need is an RJ12 crimping tool. To make sure that your cut is correct, you always go over and recut it to make sure your cut's correct. To strip the wire, you put it in these top two ports. These are the stripping ports. There is a stopper back here. You must stop at that stopper. That's a depth gauge almost, if you will. Then it strips the wire for you. You do not have to strip any of these smaller wires. With these particular units, it's always the only way you can get these to work correctly is if the wires are oriented in the correct direction. What you'll do is the pin, and this is what I do to make sure the wires are correctly placed. I always place this with the locking pin facing up. With the locking pin facing up, that means the white wire should be to the right of you and the blue wire should be to the left of you. So that is very simple. All we have to do is white is to the right, blue is to the left. Now it's very easy to remember. Keep it flat on the table, white to the right, blue to the left. Simply take this, stick it in until you feel it bottom out. Once it bottoms out, then you will take this side of your crimping tool. Then you'll stick it in the crimpers, and then you'll simply press. This connection is now finished and is ready to be installed. Now, a really good way to test your connection is to finish both sides of your wire. Both sides of the cable ready. We're going to take it over to the DCC system on the layout. Now let's look at something. This particular data cable is not faulty, but the reader is telling us that one wire is not working correctly. What you'll always want to do is you'll always want to check your controller or check your light. You'll want to see if the power is on. To turn the power on, you'll press the power button, press the positive button, positive. Now all lights are illuminated. Make sure your track power is on when you're testing these cables. Your cable may not be faulty, it might be your track power is off. And then you just simply connect all of your wires to their respective slots and have fun running your trains.